Okay, so this is my first experience ever doing a VRBO, and boy howdy was finding this. Man, I thought timeshares were sometimes hard to find, but finding this place, good times. Both Google and Garmin GPSs had no flippin' idea how to get here, and tried to send you down roads that don't exist, etc. When you get here, you get a key code. Open a little lockbox to get the key. So that's not too bad. Come inside. Eesh, I don't know. Interesting. And says, please drink only bottled water. Well, we usually only drink bottled water. Welcome. Okay, well this apparently is what passes for a kitchen? Aha, here we go. Stove over here. Kind of a small electric stove. Yeesh.
Well, it is also called a camp.
I guess it is also called a camp. I don't know. Huh. Here we go. Check out by noon. A bunch of crazy things. There's some flowers on the table. I don't know if Heidi brought them or if we did. Huh. Okay. Well, this is supposed to be basically on Lake Champlain. Okay, it's went in a big circle. Interesting. This must be at least one of the bathrooms. Okay. Well, okay. So we're gonna go upstairs. Is there stairs? Alright, let's see what we got upstairs. We have, it looks like another bathroom. Huh, okay. Don't pull these doors closed. Okay. Here's one bed that isn't made. Okay.
One room that had, it said 3 twin beds, but I think these count as, that's like a twin bed with like a futon.
Okay. Ah, here's a bedroom. Nice. And here's another one. Okay. So this is all interesting. I don't have much more to say other than that's what they've got apparently, and the beds aren't made. Okay, of all the places and different kind of things I've stayed at, including family and friends' house, this is the first place where after I've checked in, they hand me sheets to put on my bed by myself. Not just put my own sheets on, put my own pillowcases on, take them off at the end. Apparently supposed to wash them and fold them again. I don't know. VRBO is not really screaming me luxury or anything. Okay, so one thing that is a plus for this place is each room, I think more than even just each bedroom, has its own mini split, I think, head unit, and therefore has its own temperature controller here. It's like a little remote control, and you can just set the temperature whatever you want. And as I said in previous videos, I think that is amazing, and pretty much every place should ideally have separate temperature controls for each bedroom, at least. And so that is a really big plus here, although everything else is pretty old and kind of odd, and the beds are so far marginal. We'll see. I'll get some reports from other people. So now that it's daytime, this is kind of like the sunroom I don't know, kind of like a hangout area. And as you can sort of start to see through the windows, directly out onto a sandy beach. And wow, this is the beach out to Lake Champlain here at the camp. And you can see there's some fire pit or like campfire thing. Ugh. You can almost at nighttime see kind of across that way what we believe is Burlington. A lot of boats out there. And yeah, you just kind of walk right out onto the beach. So we walk right out onto the beach. You got some Adirondack style loungers here. A picnic table. This we noticed, this kind of rocking chair is, I would say, is a little iffy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced that would be that great to sit on. And I think that's a lot of the stuff here where it could really be used to be updated, made a little safer, or just a little more comfortable. I think, again, I stepped outside of the Hilton and even timeshare range in general, trying out this VRBO. And, well, you get, I think this was actually a relatively good deal for the size of it. There's 4 bedrooms if you count that. So there's 3 regular bedrooms, and then there's the 4th one you can kind of turn into a bedroom. Whole downstairs. So it's a very large building, I guess. And the price wasn't bad. I think it worked out to be about $250 a night, so not horrible, not amazing. I know with timeshares and 2 bedrooms, we can often drive that price down quite a bit from $250 a night, even in much nicer places than this. But there's no hotels really. There's no timeshares around here. The Adirondacks are very, very limited in locations, and usually you get motels at best, or kind of really low-end, small resorts, if you will. There's still basically motels, like along Lake George. So beggars can't be choosers if you want to come here. And so I think this is where things like VRBO probably shine, in that you can get the location. I'm not sure. I mean, this is a great view. This is kind of a nice location, and like with so many things, you know, if your goal is to come out here and just sit on the beach, look at Lake Champlain, maybe go over to the wildlife management area or other parts in this area of the Adirondacks, then yeah, this is not necessarily a bad option. I think it's probably a better option so far in my research than like an RV or something. But if you want to have like a comfortable bed and kind of normal restrooms and showers and things, then maybe not so much. Okay, now has become kind of a, I guess this is going to be a running potential segment since Villa Roma, of the interesting locations. And we're going to go over to Megan for some information about the downstairs bathroom toilet.
Yeah, so it's kind of small. Got a sliding door. Like, okay, fine, no big deal. But it's the first time I did this. Not recommended if you've been drinking, because when you sit down, the toilet is like noticeably tilting, and the floor is noticeably tilting. So it's okay if you just have to pee quick, but like if you're gonna be in here for any amount of time, get a little bit of core workout, holding yourself upright so that you don't go sliding off the toilet.
We've been giving it a lot of thought. We're not that familiar with VRBOs or Airbnbs or any of these rentals, so we're going to be rating this kind of on the same TUG scale as timeshares, I think, as kind of the closest thing. We'll take some hotels into consideration, but I really think this is closest to a timeshare. And we've been struggling, but basically we're feeling like this is a little above Villa Roma, which isn't a good thing. Probably roughly around like the Wyndham Nashville. Like so often happens, you find out what is the main like reason or sales pitch for a place, and it's this view. It's this view here. You walk out the back porch here, and there's Lake Champlain, and you have this sandy beach right to it. This place has a great view, and it does. But why am I talking about rating it so low? Well, there are a number of things. I think I mentioned before about the kind of interesting decor, the beds not being great. The information when you go to rent it is misleading. Like it says it's pet friendly, which is cool, but we brought our friend with her dog, and one of the things we thought would be a lot of fun, you know, we're kind of in a camping beach area, is to let the dog run around a little bit on the beach. Again, kind of the reason to be here, and the dog had a lot of fun doing it, but you know, when the dog's running around off leash, kind of occasionally runs over to one side or the other, and we got informed that, you know, the dog can't run around out here, and got called by the person we were renting from and said, you know, I told you that it was leash only for the dogs. Well, technically true, but not obvious when you rent, and not obvious when you look through any of the VRBO messages. In fact, she told me this in an aside as a response to a question that you would think it would be in the confirmation, it would be in the email with all the instructions about how to get in, how to check out, etc., 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 but it wasn't. So I had to really go hunting to even find that after I got called and told, you know, hey, the dog has been on leash. So as we're getting closer to checkout and reading the detailed and very long checkout supposed cleaning list, this is pretty ridiculous. I feel their rating is dropping steadily from this insanity of a cleaning. So not only are you supposed to wash and fold all your sheets and towels, but they want you to change the tablecloth and wash other kitchen linen. They want you to vacuum and Swiffer sweep and clean the entire fridge, like wash the fridge. This is ridiculous. I think this level of ridiculousness for me has actually pushed this to Villa Roma levels, because at least at Villa Roma they came and took your trash and they cleaned after you left like a normal place that you rent. This is pretty insane. And especially, again, you know, the cost. My goodness. That's ridiculous. I don't know. They want to do all of this before and get out by noon the next day, when I don't know how fast their washer and dryer is. Like, am I supposed to get up at like 2 a.m. and just see if it finishes or something? Like, this is pretty ridiculous. I mean, this is the washer and dryer, and the washer does seem to be like it could be a fast one. So hopefully it's not like a 1 hour, 2 hour kind of thing, and more like a 30-minute kind of thing, but we'll see. And then I don't know how fast this dryer is either. Like, this is a random GE dryer. I don't know how effective it is. Just a ridiculous amount of things to check out. I've never seen anything close to like this at any timeshare. Even Villa Roma, like I said, one thing they did do was they cleaned really well and kind of did all of it for you. But even at like the most ridiculous timeshares, like some of the stuff at Massanutten, I think, and some other ones where they ask you to strip the linens from the beds and put them on the floor by the front door, or ask you to take the towels and just put them all in one bathroom on the floor. Like, that's still relatively doable. Wash, dry, fold, replace, change the tablecloth, clean the refrigerator. That is not reasonable. I mean, maybe that's how VRBO is. I'd heard things like that about Airbnb. I thought people were exaggerating, but apparently not. But for now, I think this actually takes us down to match Villa Roma because it's just a ridiculous thing to do to check out. 4.0. Oh yeah, I just got informed that not only do they want you to clean the fridge, they want you to clean the showers too. This is, I don't know, pretty ridiculous. I have to point out, I don't know, maybe this is normal for VRBOs in all these places, but it sure doesn't seem right to me because it didn't mention any of this on the booking page, when you're looking at booking, and I didn't get any information about this stuff until after I had booked. I'd put in the request, I'd waited a day, I'd gotten back from them, they approved the request, and then I think it wasn't even mentioned until I got the here's your keys to check in email. So I don't know what they're really expecting, but, I imagine they don't put this on the booking page because people will just keep going and look for another place. Maybe I just don't understand these vacation rentals, but just in general, if this is the kind of thing that you would expect from VRBO or Airbnb, I even more so maintain my feeling that I don't think they're a good deal. I'm surprised people like them. I'm surprised that people take the risk. And I think that the only reason that I can think of to stay at something like this is if you have pets, and it's, I guess, kind of pet friendly, but now you got to be real clear what that means, when you're staying somewhere, or the location. And, well, this is a great view and a nice place to be in a lake and convenient, and there's stuff to do. We're near Oswald Chasm. That's all good. I still think if I just need a beach, there are plenty of timeshares that are on a beach that don't cost much more than this did to get you a full week, where we only got 4 days here. And don't expect you to make your own bed when you arrive, wash and fold and clean the entire place before the next person. So I'm just going to end with the good part here, the one thing that you come here for, some of the view as sun sets over Lake Champlain. It's quite nice. But one of the things I didn't get a chance to get any video of just because of the craziness of rushing out the door while trying to do what was requested here, specifically to wash and dry and fold and return all the sheets, as you might imagine, for 4 bedrooms and 4 beds worth of sheets, that worked out to be at least 2 washing machine loads. There was no way to do it in one load of laundry and the towels and the kitchen towels, etc., that they wanted. Well, this is another one of those things, like I talked about, how it would take a while to complete. It did end up taking an hour and a half to 2 hours just to do a single load of laundry. But what was worse was that the washing machine drained into that sink that you could kind of see in the tour of the laundry room, and the sink didn't drain. I mean, it drained very slowly. So if you were going to try and do 2 loads of laundry in a row, like we were kind of forced to do, the sink overflowed with soapy water onto the floor, which just added to the cleaning. We basically ran out of time and ended up just leaving, and figured they were going to have to figure it out because there was no way to finish all of that by noon, and to be frank, we were fed up. So I don't know if this was clear before, but to make it clear now, this gets a 4.0 on a TUG adapted scale for use for things like VRBO. And I will say, this doesn't necessarily inspire me to try again, but for the sake of this channel and just to make sure that to find out, is this a one-off situation, I probably will be trying a VRBO again at some point when it makes sense financially and location-wise.